Okay, so today we are looking at the extraction of iron under metals. So you need to know that when carrying out this extraction of iron, we have a special setup that we use. We use a blast furnace. And then we also need to know that we have raw materials that we need to use. So those raw materials are hematite, coke, and limestone. So in hematite, our main focus, we get or obtain iron 3 oxide from it. And then this is known as the iron ore. It is the main thing that we need in the extraction of iron. And then we have the coke and then the limestone there. So what are the things that take place? So in this blast furnace, like I have drawn here, we have ore here, which is allowed to enter the blast furnace at the bottom. And then our raw materials are allowed to enter the blast furnace at the top. So these react inside the blast furnace. So you need to know that there are a series of reactions, that is chemical reactions that take place. So you need to know these 5 reactions that take place. So the first reaction that takes place is that when this ore here is allowed into the blast furnace at about 800 degrees Celsius, the carbon reacts with the air. In this case, the coke reacts with the air. In this case, we have represented the air with the oxygen gas, because we know that it is actually the oxygen which is going to react with the carbon to produce the carbon dioxide plus heat there. So this heat that is produced, as a result, there is an elevation in the temperature to about 1700 degrees Celsius. So the next reaction that takes place involves reduction of the carbon dioxide. So what happens is that the oxygen in the carbon dioxide reacts with more coke there to produce carbon monoxide. So once this carbon monoxide is produced, it is now this same carbon monoxide that is now going to react with the iron 3 oxide in the hematite for it to produce the iron. So what happens is that the iron 3 oxide in the hematite reacts with carbon monoxide, and then it produces iron and also releases carbon dioxide, which is allowed to go to the top there. So now, once that takes place, you need to know that this type of reaction is a reversible type of reaction. It can go back and forth. So with that stated, you need to know that we have a purifier which ensures that the iron is kept in that particular fence, and that's the calcium carbonate. So what happens is that the calcium carbonate breaks down to produce calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide, and then the calcium oxide reacts with silicon dioxide, sand, and it produces what is known as calcium silicate. So this calcium silicate is simply slag. So this slag is also sent at the bottom, but above the iron, which is in a liquid state or molten state. So with that stated, you need to know that during the extraction of iron, these equations are very important, because you need to know how to come up with these equations. So the first thing that you need to know is that during the whole process, the process starts with the coke, which is the carbon, reacting with the air, and in which that particular air contains oxygen gas, which is going to react with that coke to produce carbon dioxide plus heat. Because of that elevation in heat, that causes further reaction of the coke with more carbon dioxide, and as a result we have carbon monoxide. And once we have that carbon monoxide, this carbon monoxide now is going to react with the iron 3 oxide found in the hematite, and produces iron, which we need during the whole process. So you need to know that during this process, we also have carbon dioxide, which is also produced, and it is let off. And then, since we have limestone in the equation, this limestone is the calcium carbonate. It acts as a purifier and ensures that it ensures that it produces calcium oxide, which reacts with silicon dioxide, which is sand, and produces slag. So you need to know that these equations are the main things that you really need to know. So now, a quick review. What are the raw materials that we require during the extraction of iron. Number one, you need to know that we need to have hematite, we need to have coke, we need to have limestone. Chemically, we can say we need to have iron 3 oxide, we need to have carbon, we need to have calcium carbonate. And then, what are the conditions that should be met? We need to have very high temperature, and that's about 800 degrees Celsius at the beginning, of which hot air is blasted into the furnace. And then once the reaction starts, there's an elevation in the temperature. So the temperature elevates from 800 to about 1700 degrees Celsius. And then later on, these other reactions, like the second one, it will also go to 1000 degrees. And eventually, we're going to have the 300 degrees Celsius there towards the end of the reaction. So now, during the process, the slag which is produced is set on top of the iron, which is tapped out at the bottom. So here the iron can be tapped out, and then equally the slag can be tapped out from there once the reaction is done. So you need to know that when it comes to iron, you should also know that it has got very nice properties such that it is magnetic and strong, and equally it is also said to be malleable, meaning that it can be folded. So it becomes very useful. We use iron for making grill doors. We use it also for making outdoor furniture, as well as support frames. So that is what I can say on this extraction of iron. So we'll have a question that will follow up, and then to see if this video will be able to